The LA Inyo Standing Committee meeting was held last Friday in Independence. Bennett Kessler filed this report.
To cover Department of Water and Power and Inyo County meetings, well, it's painful. LA takes on the role of colonial overlord, and Inyo usually asks for crumbs in one way or another. This time, at the Inyo Los Angeles Standing Committee meeting on Friday in Independence, Inyo officials did stand up against DWP's years-long broken promises, but not before LA City Councilman Tom LaBonge bragged about LA's creation of a wetlands in the center of Los Angeles, likely using Owens Valley water. This comment was kind of like a slap in the face to a county where DWP has mercilessly dried up all the wetlands and left them dry. LaBonge, oblivious to this truth, went on to tell how the city transformed its center as a wetland and taught young people. Then on to a project for Inyo's young people that DWP promised more than 20 years ago and never made it happen. Instead of responding to Inyo officials' wishes on this, DWP water manager Marty Adams launched into LA's preemptive strike with a plan to jerry-rig the Lone Pine School Farm project and squeeze more water out of Inyo in the process. Instead of finally turning on the tap for 30 acre-feet of water for the school like DWP promised, they wanted to move the whole project, fences, water distribution system and all, over to lessee Tom Nolan's acres and use water there while at the same time installing bubblers in the Independence tree lot to reduce water there, a kind of unholy balancing of water droplets. Brenda Lacey, agricultural instructor at the Lone Pine School, argued that the more permanent, easier, and less expensive plan to just turn water on to the existing farm was far better and more permanent than the expense of moving everything over next door to Tom Nolan's lease. Marty Adams said, quote, "We have to be smart about water." He made it clear less water for the tree lot was a requirement to give water to the school. This scheme only surfaced in the Friday meeting after 25 years of promises to the contrary. The quid pro quo is worse than that, though. Water Director Bob Harrington reminded DWP that they came to Inyo and asked for a reduction in water for the McNally Ponds and Van Norman mitigation measures. Inyo had said yes, but only on the condition of extra water elsewhere, including water for the school farm. DWP conveniently forgot about that agreement. County Administrator Kevin Carrancio reminded them about the deal and the fact that the county had forged ahead with an environmental document on the farm project, only to be derailed when LA decided they wanted to do the environmental review. Trouble is, they never did it. Carrancio said it was nice DWP and their lessee came up with a short-term plan for the farm, even though everyone was calling for the promised long-term solution. He said DWP saved quite a bit of water from the reduction at the McNally Ponds. Carrancio said, quote, "We had an agreement a year ago, and it was not done. This is a matter of faith and trust," end quote. Supervisor Linda Arcularius followed that up with a motion that LA give the farm its water and finish their environmental document in time for the growing season. She said, quote, "This was intended over 20 years ago." LA officials wanted to caucus. They came back and voted no on the Arcularius motion. Inyo voted yes. With the dysfunctional standing committee rules of 1-to-1 votes, that was the end of that. Then LA swooped in to push their own short-term and more expensive plan to move the farm onto the adjoining lease and then apparently move it back later after taking water away from Independence. It all left people feeling uneasy. Agricultural instructor Lacey said to DWP, quote, "Just give us the water. It's ludicrous to move and refence everything." Several people, including Linda Arcularius, Bob Harrington, Scott Kemp, Greg James, and Kevin Caruncio, tried to reason with DWP, who would have none of it. Nancy Masters of Independence pointed out that the long-term water agreement promises 5 acre-feet of water for the Independence tree lot. Now, DWP wanted to take part of that water away. "We need that water," she said, "for our environment." Masters pointed to all the mitigation measures never done by DWP and the water they owe Inyo. Said Masters, "Does Inyo owe DWP 30 acre-feet for the farm project? No." DWP's Marty Adams leaned on an old excuse when he said, "LA has no right to give away our water rights." Councilman LaBonge escalated the word games when he went back 100 years and said the president agreed to give them the water. He didn't seem to know that the long-term water agreement gave some of it back. Linda Arcularius made it clear that they could complete the project as a public benefit, not as a gift of water. She said, quote, "Leave this malarkey somewhere else," end quote. Then 2 of the LA officials suddenly announced their helicopter was waiting to take them back, and they had to go. Supervisor Rick Pucci said, quote, "I'm a little upset. We didn't know the meeting was going to end. As a courtesy, you should have told me." Pucci continued the meeting anyway. Brenda Lacey finally gave in to DWP's only offer on the table for the school. And so, LA had its way one more time. Bob, back to you.
And we thank Bennett Kessler for that. Bennett also filed this story. Apparently, the Mammoth Town Council has kind of decided they like the guy they already have to stay on as permanent town manager. Town Council will put together a contract for now interim town manager Dan Holler and discuss it publicly February 19th. Now, the council had debated, delayed, and disagreed over hiring a consultant to recruit a permanent manager. So finally, Mayor Rick Wood said, quote, "We heard the message that the selection process for permanent town managers should be transparent," end quote. He went on to say one way to do that would be to hire a consultant, but he said a majority of the council are not supportive of that. Wood then switched to a different conversation. He advised consideration of hiring interim manager Holler as the permanent guy. Wood then said he had gone so far as to have discussions with the town attorney and Holler about terms of a contract. Wood asked his colleagues to authorize crafting an agreement for, quote, "the town council and the public to discuss on February 19th, end quote. Mammoth Councilwoman Joe Bacon said she would like to see a contract with a, quote, "reasonable length of time and not a huge severance payout clause, and something that reflects a salary commensurate with the size of the town," end quote. Now, Mayor Wood saw the same opportunity to, as he said, revamp the compensation structure for, quote, "non-union personnel," end quote. Councilman Matthew Lehman said he agreed 100% on the severance pay, which he said had been the, quote, downfall for us over the decades, end quote. Now, all of the Mammoth Town Council agreed to direct Mayor Wood and others to come up with a deal for Holler that would be open to public discussion. Also from the Mammoth Town Council meeting last Wednesday, use the reserve for economic uncertainties. It's money for like what's happening to us right now. And that's what Mammoth Town Councilman John Eastman said. And now he called the lack of snow now a rare event. He said it is statistically unlikely to happen again next year. The council faced facts last Wednesday night and agreed to cut back revenue projections. Now, you can see more on this story and the numbers involved on our website, sierrawave.net. We'll be back with more news.